this was during COVID, so we had nothing else to do. So we were just working on this, 9, 10 hours a day. We were really intentional with every single piece of this. We would always say, why be a gummy if it's not delicious? That's what we wanted to do. It ended up costing us probably like at least 100 grand, maybe more, maybe 200 grand.
Tell me a bit about yourself. Like, tell me about your background and where were you before you even launched or started a business, and how did all this happen?
For sure. So I'm Jake Melman, co-founder of Troop. My background has actually been in entrepreneurship. So I've been starting businesses for the last, it's been 8 years now. In that time, definitely saw a good number of failures, as any entrepreneur does. I wouldn't actually call them failures, just like learning lessons. But every single business that I started is playing a role in the business that I'm running now, and all the knowledge that I learned from each different one. So yeah, I right before we started Troop, I was the owner of a digital marketing agency. So we were doing SEO for medical practices, and I wasn't really feeling super fulfilled and really like happy with the direction of where I was at. And then COVID came, but not just COVID. On the very same day of the COVID lockdown, March 14th, 2020, I was skiing actually that day, and I fell and got into a horrible ski accident. And I broke my leg super badly. So on the same exact day that COVID started and this huge lockdown began, I also had a major injury that basically took me out for 2 months. So I wasn't walking for about 7 weeks. I was bedridden, and that was the same time as COVID. So for me at that time, things were definitely very challenging, to say the least, because one, I was severely injured. I couldn't walk anymore. Two, COVID started and the whole world shut down, and we were doing marketing for medical practices that all shut down. So within the first month, basically all of our clients dropped. They paused their marketing, and all of our company revenue just disappeared overnight. So I was injured. I couldn't take care of myself, and all of my business just completely shut down.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was definitely a very challenging time. But looking back at it, it was, now I look back at it as a blessing. Yeah, which is really cool. So in that time, I was forced to move home with my parents because I couldn't take care of myself and I couldn't afford rent anymore. So thankfully they had some space to take me. And at the same time, my cousin, Stephanie, who was also one of my best friends, got furloughed from her job. And she decided to move into my parents' house and help take care of me, because I needed all the help I could get. So she moves in, and things were good for a while. We did the normal COVID stuff. We watched all the Netflix. We baked the banana bread, etc. And then one day she asked me, "Hey, do you want to grow mushrooms with me?" Which I said, "Of course." So we started growing mushrooms in the closet at my parents' house. So that's where this all kind of got started. And after we started growing them, we really just started falling in love with mushrooms, and we started to learn more and more about them. We watched the movie Fantastic Fungi, which is an incredible film for those of you who haven't seen it. It teaches everything about these magical mushrooms that are just so incredible in so many ways and vastly different than anything I ever thought. I always thought mushrooms were plants, but mushrooms are not plants and they're not animals. There's something in between humans, animals, and plants. They actually share more of their DNA with humans than they do with plants. So we're actually more closely related to mushrooms than we are to a lot of animals, which is interesting. So we felt like we had stumbled upon basically this ancient secret of health and wellness. These mushrooms have been used for thousands of years in cultures all around the world. And we felt like people weren't talking about them right now. We were really shocked to see
Mm.
how powerful they are and all the new research that's coming out that's proving these ancient medicinal studies, but are really were not known at all at the time. This was back in 2020. Nobody was talking about mushrooms. Now it's very different. You see mushrooms everywhere, all over the place. But at the time, very few places were selling mushrooms. And the places that were, and the products that were out there, were all very like ceremonial and very kind of hippie. And that didn't really resonate with us. We didn't come from a health and wellness background. We didn't come from the communities that live in the forest and forage their own mushrooms. We were just kind of regular people trying to live in the city and live regular lives, but we wanted to take these mushrooms. So we started to offer these mushrooms to our community. We started sharing them with our friends and family. And we have a really large family. It's one of the reasons we named our company Troop. The word troop actually means a group of mushrooms is a troop. So we really care about community. And we started to share these with our friends and family. And, we then decided, hey, why don't we make this in a form that's easier to take? So we thought about chocolates and we thought about whatever. But for me, I love candy. I'm huge gummy candy guy. And so I really wanted this to be in a gummy. So we checked the market and there were no gummies out there with these mushrooms. And so we said, well, it looks like we have to start it then.
Wow. I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. I mean, it just seemed natural, when she asked you, "Can we grow mushrooms in your closet?" and you're like, "Yes, let's do it." That's
Yeah.
that's such a cool story, like how it all began. I love that.
Thank you.
And so you decided to like turn this idea, this experiment, if I may call it that, into a product. And that's such a cool progression of the story. So like in that sense, like did you start doing like some product research, and what tools did you use? Did you use like some of the tools like in that we use, like Helium 10, or did you use other tools, or how did you go about doing like some market research?
So we did it basically the old-fashioned way on the market research. We just searched extensively, Google search. We made massive Google sheets and Excel sheets, listing out all the other products, all the mushroom sources, anywhere we could find these powerful functional mushrooms. So these mushrooms that we started looking at were lion's mane, reishi, chaga, cordyceps, maitake, turkey tail. These are like the 6 we kind of started looking at. They're the most well-known and most researched currently. They've also been used the most prominently throughout history. So there are texts of reishi being used in ancient Egypt and lion's mane being used in cultures for thousands of years in ancient medicines. So we wanted to start with those. And Stephanie came from an operations background. She was managing hotels. So she went in and did just extreme deep dive work on, we basically made a list of every mushroom grower and farm and manufacturer in the United States. We decided to only look at United States mushrooms because mushrooms from China, while they are significantly cheaper, they have been shown to occasionally have lead and heavy metals in them since they have toxins in the water. And mushrooms, when they grow, are 90% water. So then when you dry them, those toxins remain in the mushroom. So we did 100% from America. We wanted everything to be as high quality as possible. We spent about 1.5 years on the creation of Troop, of the product creation. There was nobody had mushroom gummies at the time. Now manufacturers, you can go to a manufacturer and just buy them and put your label on it, which we
Wow.
see a lot of companies doing. That's why you can see 20 different companies with the exact same looking gummy. And we didn't have that. So we custom formulated our gummies, which took about a year. So we worked with a gummy scientist, which we didn't even know was a real profession before this. And we formulated, we went back and forth, and we got really good at gummies. You know, we can literally taste like, oh, I think it needs 10% more citric acid, or reduce the flavor by 5%, different really specific things like that.
Did you guys
Yeah.
like have to call every manufacturer and ask them and learn about the process and like order samples?
Yeah.
How was that process like, and how much did it cost to like even experiment and like test all of that?
It was a very long process. It would took months and months. And given that this was during COVID, so we had nothing else to do. So we were just working on this, you know, 9, 10 hours a day. This was all we were doing. And for 18 months, we were doing this. And it definitely had its cost, because the samples, you had to pay for all the samples for the mushrooms. We had to be shipping, you know, mushroom samples across the country to our formulator. He would make it into gummies, then he would ship it out to us. All this costs money.
Wow.
So it probably costs like 20,000 just to even do the formulations and the testing. And then on top of that, you know, we started working on branding, and we started working on packaging design, and we had to get samples of that. And that took months and months as well, and the boxes. And we were really intentional with every single piece of this. Like our bottles, for instance, are 100% recycled plastic, because we didn't want to introduce any virgin plastics to the world. Our
Wow.
boxes are recyclable boxes, and really high quality boxes. We print on the bottle instead of using a label, because we didn't want to add any additional plastics, which is all added costs and all added time and effort. But we wanted it to be a product that we could truly stand behind.
Yeah. That's also
And
better for recycling when you
yeah,
print on the bottle versus having a paper around the bottle.
exactly. Yep. So we wanted to really just like be everything. Our gummies, we formulated for so long because we had a lot of specifications. Like we wanted it to be vegan. We wanted it to be healthy, so it has no corn syrups, no artificial dyes or colors, no preservatives. Everything is organic and natural. Our flavors are all from fruits and vegetables, and our colors as well. Then there's gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free. It's just like we had really we had a lot of specifications. And then on top of that, it had to be delicious. That was like extremely important for us, that
Yeah.
it was really, really tasty, because we would always say, why be a gummy if it's not delicious?
Right. Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, you guys really talk about a passion product. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't get more passionate than that. All the way to the packaging and the product itself, and how was the designing, like how much did the designing project cost you, and was it hard to find a manufacturer that can make that type of request, recyclable bottles?
It was the manufacturing was the hardest thing we ever dealt with. It essentially took 2 years to figure out
Mm,
manufacturing. So in the beginning, we had a product no one had ever heard of, you know, mushroom gummies. We were putting liquid tinctures into the product because it has a better absorption rate than powders.
yeah.
So we were putting super high density concentrated liquid mushroom tinctures into the gummies. Nobody knew how to make it. We got scammed by 4 manufacturers in a row. People didn't know how to make it, and they lied and said they did. They couldn't do it. They had insane amount of variance per batch. The gummies were just completely different every batch, and we're like, how is this possible? We were flying our formulator to and from Florida like multiple times.
Wow.
All this was costing so much money. We had one manufacturer who later in the game basically like pulled the biggest scam on us. He lied and said he could do our product and make it. And then he was like literally lying to our faces constantly about he was saying, oh, it's being made right now. And then no, he would just not message me for 2 weeks and say, we'd say, what's going on? And he would say, oh, we had a problem. It's being made today. And then 2 weeks later, nothing. And we found out that during
Mm.
this time, he was manufacturing for one of our biggest competitors. He was working on their product. So
Mm.
basically, they were stalling us. It was like some corporate espionage shit, like right out of a movie. And there's really nothing you can do because like they have all your ingredients, they have all your product, they have everything there. And so they have your life in their hands. So yeah, and like lawsuits are just so insanely expensive. Nobody can afford them.
That's
So
wild.
we yeah, so we got just absolutely screwed left and right on the manufacturing, but now we finally found like a partner manufacturer who's in it for the long run and who's makes consistent quality product. And so we have now been starting to scale up with this manufacturer. And so that's just so exciting to have
Wow.
consistent product available. Yeah,
So
really, really exciting.
that's beautiful. So your packaging is separate from manufacturing the product. So you're getting the
Yeah,
packages separately
yeah.
shipped and packaged at the manufacturing site.
Yeah, we did everything the hard way. So we had found one manufacturer who made the bottles, the because we wanted the specific
Yeah.
100% recycled ocean plastic bottles, and then we would ship them to a printer who would print on the bottles, and then
Wow.
we would ship those to our gummy manufacturer who would make the gummies and put them and then put them in the bottles. And we
Wow.
also have a different mushroom grower because we wanted the best of the best. So we have a mushroom grower who grows the mushrooms and extracts them. And then we ship that extraction all to the gummy manufacturer. And then we ship all
Yeah.
of those bottles to our fulfillment center. And luckily, we have the manufacturers right next to our fulfillment center. So there's not too much waste there. In the filled bottles. But yeah, it's just a major process.
Was there also sampling with the packaging? Like you're ordering samples to look at it, and so
Oh yeah.
how much did that cost? Like the sampling process for for packaging and design, and like walk me through the cost of all these different processes that you guys went through.
Yeah, it probably cost a few $1,000s. I'd say probably like between 5 and 10,000 for the packaging to be completed.
Okay.
Including like design and samples. So if you look at our packaging, we wanted it like our goal was to be the apple of mushrooms. You know, it looks really like sleek, really nice, high end, and just very trustworthy because we found in the mushroom space like there's so many sketchy companies out there that you have no idea what they're putting in their products. We wanted to be like the go-to trustworthy product in mushrooms.
I love that. Yeah, you do. You guys do have a beautiful package. I mean,
Thank
it's
you.
very simple, elegant, and
Thank you.
looks really nice. It really paid off.
Thanks. Yeah,
Uh,
it was very, very challenging, but you know, we think that definitely we hope the customer can see, you know, the effort we put in. Actually, there's one more piece I haven't mentioned that was absolutely critical. If you look at our gummies, and I talked about how other companies all use the same gummy that you can just buy from the manufacturer and put your logo on. Our gummies actually have a mushroom stamp on each and every gummy. So
wow.
this is a custom mold gummy, which if you go and look at any other like gummy supplement company, only the major massive ones like Ollie have a gummy stamp
Wow.
because of the incredible difficulty it is to do this. We didn't know this when we started. I will tell you that we did not know the difficulty it would bring, or else we definitely would not have done it yet. But what we wanted to do with that mushroom stamp is we wanted people to see that mushroom stamp on our gummies and know that that's a sign of quality. Like when you see that stamp, it's a sign that you're getting super premium, high quality mushrooms in these gummies and with no harmful ingredients at all. So that's what we wanted to do. It ended up costing us probably like at least 100 grand, maybe more, maybe 200 grand, because we had that mushroom stamp,
Wow.
which, yeah, it led to some incredible challenges. But now that all the challenges are done and we have a consistent manufacturer, it is cool that we have that.
Did you guys do that before your initial like inventory order, or is that like throughout
No,
while
we did it before.
this is all before?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So in that process, did you guys create any like patents, trademarks? I'm guessing you started an LLC as well. Did you do all these? Like, do you have like a patent on this product, a trademark?
So we have a trademark on Troop, which was actually really difficult to get, and we actually only got it a few weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago. And we filed for it, I think 3.5 years ago.
Hmm.
So the process has been long and expensive and grueling. We had to fight several different people who had similar names and were trying to. One company launched with a very similar name, very similar brand in the same product that were trying to just rip us off,
Hmm.
because we got a lot of press in the beginning. And so we had to fight them. We had to fight other companies. It's been so challenging. I definitely recommend for people starting a business, do trademark literally day one, because it is the longest and most challenging process. And if you don't get it, it can completely end your business. So definitely recommend trademarks immediately. So we finally got that. We don't have a patent on anything. After we spoke with many different patent lawyers, we decided that patenting this was not worth it. It was really expensive and really challenging to defend. Somebody can make a slightly different gummy and there's really nothing that you can do about it. So
Yeah.
what we elected for was, instead of spending all of that money on the patent lawyers and doing that whole thing, we would just spend that on marketing and showing people that we are the first mushroom gummy and we're the best mushroom gummy.
Mm, I love that. It makes sense. And how much did the trademark cost? It sounds like it was a bit of a struggle there.
Yeah, it probably cost total like 20,000.
20,000 for the trademark?
Yeah.
Wow. Uh,
It would have been significantly less if we hadn't run into the challenges we run into. We trademarked another company name of ours, and it was like, I think, $1,000.
wow. Okay.
That company's called Miracle Mushrooms.
Mm.
Yeah.
Man, that's I can't imagine what you guys went through with that. That's really impressive.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah.
Let me see here.
It's the
Like,
stuff of nightmares. And yeah, we went through hell. Like, we cried. We
so
had to
how
go to therapy. It was challenging.
so how many manufacturers in total do you think you guys went through? Like the
We
number
went through, I believe, 7. I think we're on our 7th.
seventh,
Yeah.
and in packaging, how many different packaging companies did you guys go through?
The packaging was actually a lot easier. We
Okay.
didn't run to nearly as many challenges. I think we only went to like 2 or 3 different packaging companies.
Wow.
Yeah, but that was pretty fast and all early on in the beginning. We didn't have to change midway through. Like with the gummies, we had to change straight up midway through when we have orders waiting. Customers had to wait over a month for their orders several times. We sold out and we couldn't get more product because of the manufacturing challenges. So that was just horrible. We lost half of our revenue. Like, we had a lot of subscription revenue. Half of our subscribers dropped because they didn't get their product for 2 months. So it just was so painful.
Wow. Uh, so if you want to give it a rough estimate, what would you say your startup cost was?
Like, all in.
All in.
Oh man. I mean, it's hard to say because we lost so much money on these manufacturers, like basically like scamming us. We probably lost total like 150, 200,000 on just lost waste. And if we didn't have that, and a big part of that was because we had our custom molds. If we didn't have custom molds, this would have been so much easier.
Mm.
So all in, and also the molds cost a lot. All in, our startup cost was probably like 300-400. Given all of that, I think if I were to start another company today, knowing what I know, I could do the whole thing with 75.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That learning uh, process is a lot to go through.
Yeah. The knowledge is so much more valuable than the money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um, so what was your first inventory order? So after going through all of that, and now you're like ready to place your first order, like, okay, let's get this first shipment in, let's start selling. What was your first order like, and how much
Yeah.
did you guys order?
Our first order was, I think we did like 2,000 of each bottle. We have three SKUs, three products. I think we did 2,000 of each, and the cost per bottle to manufacture was $12 a bottle, which is like
Yeah.
absolutely unheard of cost.
Mm.
It was like a small company, the only ones who could say they could do it. And honestly, they did it incredibly. They were the best company, but they shut down after our first order. So we literally got our first order. We started selling. We got all this press. We were featured in Bloomberg, in Forbes. We were featured all different places. And then they shut down. And we were like, oh my God, you guys just left us high and dry. But that started our hellish journey. But
Uh,
now a bottle costs like about $5. And soon we're going to be scaling up. We're still at pretty relatively small scale, doing like 5,000 of each unit. But soon we're going to be scaling up to like 10,000, and that's going to drop the cost to, in the threes. So definitely scale helps a lot. If I knew what I know now, I would have bought scaled product right off the bat and just bought 10,000 of each and done it for $3 instead of $12 because we're paying 4 times the amount.
mm.
So, a lot of learnings, but we had no knowledge of how this works. Zero. We literally came from completely different backgrounds. We learned everything the hard way. So, I always tell entrepreneurs who ask me, hey, what should I do to start? I always say, like, talk to as many people in the space as you possibly can. Have like a really good foundation and roadmap of what you should be doing, the prices you should be getting, all of that, because it'll save you hundreds of thousands of dollars and years of time.
Yeah, that's a really good advice. And we lean on each other to learn and grow in this industry and in any industry, really. Like when it comes to entrepreneurship, we need each other in a way to like learn from each other's mistakes, each other's lessons. So that's a really good advice. Uh, so yeah, let's move towards the beginning of the launch, and you're ready. You placed your first order. You went through all the trouble and the challenges that you guys overcome were amazing. You've ordered your product. So I'm guessing you said you have 3 SKUs. So that means you had to order 3 UPC codes for each product. Did you get those from GS1?
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'm guessing that's a $90 cost. So
Yeah.
that's pretty straightforward. And you have your LLC, you have your trademark. Did you guys do any marketing prior to launching? Any social media, mainstream? Uh,
Mm.
what did you guys do? What was your plan towards like pre-launching?
Yeah, we were doing a lot of social media at the time. To be completely honest, we also didn't know marketing. It's really funny to talk about. We knew nothing. We really knew nothing. And we didn't do like any pre-launch funnels. We had a website built, and we built it in just a really horrible way. We should have just used straight up Shopify and built a super simple site and learn. But we went really high end off the bat, and we spent a lot of money on it. I think the website costs 30, 40,000. We also we raised money before, which I actually don't recommend, because the fact that we raised money and had money to spend, we spent it, and we didn't know how to spend it yet. When you don't have money, you really learn how to do things without money. And then once you have the money, it just fuels what you're already doing, versus just kind of shooting in the dark. So we made a Shopify site that was like, it was a really complex site, and it made it impossible for us to make any changes ourselves. We had to use a dev team. So everything cost money. So, I always recommend just build your own Shopify site, use a template, make it simple, start getting sales and learn. So we had to switch off of that site to a new site after about a year, which was a huge waste, but again, learning lessons. And then also we didn't really know about online marketing. So we actually didn't even think about doing like meta ads or anything like that. Because we thought that because we were a mushroom gummy, we thought that people would need to try the product before they would buy it. So we actually focused on sampling campaigns. So we did huge amounts of samples, sending samples out to thousands of people, which was incorrect. People do not need to try things before they buy them. Somebody once told me they sell perfume online, and like, how do you do that? You can't even smell it first. You have no idea what it's going to smell like, but you sell the feeling that people will get from it, and people will buy it. And we also have, we have a money back guarantee. So if people don't like it, they can always get their money back. So they did not need to try before they buy. So we didn't even start meta ads or did online digital marketing until August of last year. Only like a year and a half into our business did we start running actual ads. And then, obviously once we did, we saw our revenue skyrocket because people were getting in front of people. And we were like, damn, that was another huge mistake. We hired a brand ambassador. We were doing things in person. We were doing live events, all a waste of money.
Wow.
All a huge waste of money that, it was good. It built community and stuff, but it did not generate sales. And it does not matter how amazing your brand is or how incredible your community is if you don't have sales. As a business, you run on sales.
Right. Man, so did you guys launch off of Amazon at first, or when did you get to the Amazon platform?
Yeah, we only launched on Amazon around the same time, around August of last year. So we've only been on Amazon for, like 6 months now. And Amazon is now one of our biggest channels, like only second to our direct sales.
Oh, okay. And so you launched together with Amazon and off of Amazon?
We launched off Amazon first. So we were just D2C Shopify.
Okay.
When we launched back in 2022, like we launched February 2nd, 2022. And we launched Amazon August of 2023.
August of 2023. Okay. So what was your first shipment to Amazon? How much did you guys ship? Was it all 3 SKUs, or was it just one you guys wanted to test out? How did that look like?
We actually launched with 2 SKUs. The third one had some problems on Amazon. We had to make some changes, and now we have all 3 on there. I think we sent like about 1,000 of each SKU to start, and the sales have been really great. We actually work with a partner. They're called Trivium Group. They have been incredible for us in our Amazon sales. They manage all of they run Amazon ad spend and just make sure we're not losing money, basically.
Nice. How much did it cost to ship your first inventory to Amazon? Do you remember? Do you have the numbers?
It's something like, like $200 to $500.
Okay, so it wasn't that bad.
It's not crazy. Yeah. So we're actually quite lucky. We didn't know this when we started, but our product, because we're supplements and we're gummies, the product is very light. So it's light and it lasts a long time. So we're very blessed because we have friends who are in similar space, like in mushrooms, but they did a drink and it's very heavy and very expensive to ship. And we always say, like, if we did drinks, and we had the challenges that we had, like we would have went bankrupt just from the shipping. So, a light product that can last a long time is really important.
Yeah, it really makes a difference, especially when you're shipping it to the Amazon warehouse. I think
Yeah.
they look for minimum 100-day shelf life.
Yeah.
Um, so you launched in August. Let's talk about your first launch on Amazon. And the reason, because I want to keep it relevant to the viewers of this
Sure.
channel, because we talk mostly about Amazon.
Got it.
Uh, so tell me about like your first launch on Amazon. So you launched in August. How were the sales like? How much did you guys sell? What was the revenue? How much was the Amazon fees? And how much did you guys spend on marketing with Amazon? Or was there any marketing in the first month?
Yeah, so in the beginning, we didn't do any marketing on Amazon. We just kind of were feeling it out to see what it was like. We again did not know what we needed to do on Amazon. So we put it out there. I think we did a small amount of sales our first month, maybe like $1,000, maybe like 1 to 2,000. And that was just from people seeing our ads and then going to Amazon to buy it. So
Mm.
we actually see a direct correlation with our ad spend on Meta and our Amazon sales. So that's definitely an important thing to note because people will go look for a better price on Amazon. So we did maybe 1,000 to 2,000, and we did that for a couple months. I think we did like 3,000, 2, 3, 4,000 for the first few months, and then that's when we brought on this company Trivium, who is amazing, and they've been doing ad spend for us. So we were definitely concerned to do ad spend because don't want to lose money. But they have really been able to never lose us money. Like we consistently like break even or make money. And now we're doing, 30 to 50,000 a month in revenue. So, and that's only increasing.
And did they help you with the listing as well, or was it just marketing?
Yeah, so we did a lot of work on the listing ourselves beforehand, like with designers. But they definitely have given us a lot of tips on the listing that we then went and followed. Hitting keywords and making sure the SEO is good. Now we're running like A/B tests with different images and things like that. So that's all been very cool. And given that they are running the ads, they're sending like a very consistent traffic source to the page. So it makes it easier to do testing.
How much did you guys spend on design, like the images and the listing? How much did that cost you guys?
I think it probably cost like total, not crazy, like 3K total.
And you did that before the first launch. You guys went and hired like
Yeah.
uh, someone who does Amazon listing photos and copyright the listing, or did you guys do that yourself?
Yeah, we did a lot of it ourselves. It's all been kind of like a mix.
Yeah.
We do a little bit of everything. I'm now like a professional graphic designer myself after all this. And so we kind of work with the designers, and it was more ongoing than it was just like done. It was
Yeah.
like we had our first iteration, we put it up, and then we did another iteration, and then we made the changes, and then we did another iteration. And we've been constantly like making changes. So yeah, it's been an ongoing process.
And the first month when you said there was no ad avenue or there was no ad spend, so you were getting all the ads from Meta funneling towards Amazon, and you guys made $1,000 in revenue. I'm guessing how many units is that? Do you know? Was that about?
Yeah, it's about like 20.
Okay, so it was about like 24, 25 units.
Yeah.
And you were selling it at the same price you're selling it right now, or did you guys start it with a lower price you were selling?
Same price.
Same.
We have some advisors who are like founders of supplement companies, and they basically instructed us really early on to always keep price consistency. So like make sure your price is the same everywhere. Um, Except we have like a subscription on our website. That's the only place that it's cheaper.
Mm.
So if you wanted to get a subscription from our website directly, that's the only way you can get it cheaper, basically.
I see. And I'm guessing the Amazon FBA fees and their service fees. Do you know approximately how much that was, like per unit, maybe how much they cost you, the Amazon fees?
Yeah, I think the total cost was like around $14 per unit.
$14 per unit.
Yeah, with all the fees. And that after everything ended up, our margin was about the same as selling direct through Shopify for one unit. When we sell multiple units, like if we sell 3 bottles, it's cheaper because the shipping.
Yeah.
But yeah, the single unit sale is like actually a little bit better margin on Amazon, which people are always shocked by. But yeah, it's not bad, you know.
Yeah, so that's about like quarter the price of, or one third the price of how much you're selling it. So you're keeping two-thirds as profit,
Yeah.
minus the startup cost or the
Yeah,
cost
minus
in
the
it.
cost of goods.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. And now, like moving towards month two, it was about the same. So you were seeing about the same number. And then month three, when you start doing PPC and optimizing your listing, you said do you remember how much you, like month three when you guys made that transition and start utilizing PPC, how much revenue you made that month?
Yeah, I do remember. I think we jumped to like 8,000 and we were like blown away. We're like, holy shit, that's amazing.
And do you know how much it costs to like spend on PPC from that
Yeah, I think we spent a lot too. I think we spent like 4 grand. You know, we were pretty like break even, maybe even losing a little bit of money for a while. We it had to build up, and like only in the last like 2 months have we started breaking profit.
Mm,
But we did lose a little bit of money. But like we kind of decided we wanted to go for increasing revenue instead of increasing profit. So we were okay. We were only losing like $1,000 or $2,000 a month, but we were increasing the revenue a lot.
I see. So month four, did it stay at 8,000? Did it go up even more?
It went up to like 12, like 12, 13. And then it's been going up every month. So
Interesting. And so you started in August, and come September, October is when you started PPC. So like October was $8,000 in revenue. Then November was 12,000. December, do you remember the numbers in December?
I don't remember it exactly, but I do remember it's been like consistently increasing by a couple thousand a month.
Okay.
And, now I think last month was at like 33,000, and it just has been every month increasing by like 3, 4,000.
Interesting. And as it was increasing, you guys are like optimizing the PPC campaigns. So now it's costing you less to advertise, and you're, keeping some profits in return.
Exactly.
That's beautiful. Yeah, man. I mean, like honestly, you guys have such a beautiful story. I mean, there's so many challenges and rewards in the process. Like what I guess you spoke a lot about the mistakes that you guys made. I usually ask this question at this time, like, what are some mistakes that
Yeah.
you would have learned from? Uh, I mean, you spoke about packaging issues, manufacturing shutdown, manufacturing challenges, website issues and challenges there, your sampling campaign. I mean, you guys had a challenge around every corner.
Every corner. Yeah.
Your trademark, it's just amazing, and you guys persevered through all of it. So it's like looking back at all of it right now, and like, what are some things that you took from it, and where are you right now? Do you feel more rewarded to like going through all these challenges? Do you feel more motivated, more inspired to like keep moving forward? Like, what is your overall look on all of this?
Definitely more inspired for having gone through all the challenges. It really makes you feel like you can do anything, and no matter the challenge, you can achieve.
Mm.
Also, like it has made me obsessed with learning, where I'm just like now, like knowing what I could have avoided had I just spent more time learning, reading books about how to manufacture products or how to start these online businesses. Like all the information is out there. And since I started, I found it, but a little late for my opinion. But now I'm reading more and more books about future stuff that I want to do. So I've become really like obsessed with learning, because I know how powerful it is. So definitely, I feel more inspired having gone through it, and I also just know that like you almost have to go through this. People don't start successful companies without going through this, and every time I see a new company just pop up overnight, like quote unquote overnight, some overnight success, I know for a fact that either the company's been around a lot longer than people know and it's had a lot of challenges, or the founder has started many other companies and had many other challenges that they've learned from, because it just does not happen without that. It's just impossible.
Right. Yeah. Couldn't say it any better. Everything is a learning process, and you got to learn how to adapt and learn from mistakes and challenges. If entrepreneurship was easy, everyone would do it. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, man, this was amazing. I mean, I love the story. Thank you for sharing all of that. Thank you I know we're running out of time. Uh, I mean, there's so many other questions that I could ask you, but thank you for sharing that, man. And like, honestly, like it's so inspiring and motivating to see what you guys have done. You guys have a beautiful product, beautiful brand.
Thank you.
So excited to like be here and talk with you and learn from your lessons and just share all of this. So yeah, I mean, thank you. Um,
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is really cool. I really hope that this information helps someone else. I hope some entrepreneur hears this and reaches out to me and says, What should I not do?"
Yeah, I mean, like from all of this, what was like your scariest, lowest point that you felt that you can reflect on, that someone can learn from, that can take away from all of this?
Yeah, it was definitely the point where we found out that that manufacturer was manufacturing for a competitor, because we were the only mushroom gummy for a very long time. So we were like on the store shelves just alone as the only mushroom gummy. And when we found out that one, and I knew something was wrong because he just kept lying to my face. And they had all of our product there. They had all of our like raw materials, everything. And it just felt like, it
Wow.
honestly felt like it was the end of the company. Like we were going to go under. We had people waiting for over a month and a half for their product. People were really upset. We were losing all of our revenue. It was definitely the lowest point that we have had. So I would say, one, contracts are extremely important. After that, we put in our contracts that for every day, like we agree on a date that the product will be done, and every day that it's late, the manufacturer owes us $1,000 for every single day. Because if I had that in the contract, I would have just been sitting there being like, no problem, take your time,
Yeah.
because I'm going to come and take everything. So contracts, very important. Make sure you find people you trust and they're not just like in this for the money. They're really in it to make a great product.
Beautiful. Hey, that's a really good advice. I appreciate that. Thanks again for being on the channel and sharing all of that. That's really inspiring.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All
Okay.
right. Have a good one.
You too.